Hello?
Good morning, Mr. President.
We got James Lee.
Yes, sir. I have Roger Johnson with me, the administrator of GSA at the Disaster Field Office here in Pasadena. Secretary Espy is also on, who is at the Oak Grove Fire Camp in Southern California.
President.
Hello, Secretary Espy. How are you?
How you doing, sir? I'm at the Oak Grove Fire Camp near Altadena, California.
Also, Mr. President, we have Senator Feinstein and Senator Boxer on, and Dick Andrews, the California's Director of Emergency Service, is here in the Disaster Field Office with Roger and I. And for the first 2 days, Mr. President, Senator Boxer and Senator Feinstein and the State Director and I have toured many of the areas that was destroyed by the wildfires and witnessed some of the most terrible losses that we have seen in a long time, and talked to some of the bravest and most courageous firefighters and volunteers which have really battled these fires without much rest at all. And let me give you a brief situation report, and then I will ask Dick Andrews to give you a very brief, up-to-date situation report as of right now on the fires themselves. There's nearly 700 residents that have been destroyed. Several thousand still remain at risk, and there's been over 150,000 acres that have been burned. There's approximately 7,000 firefighters and emergency workers from not only California but other states that have been battling 17 fires. 10 of those fires have been contained, and we still have 7 fires that are still active. And they're scattered all across the Southern California. There is what we feel like a rough estimate of about $500 million in damages, which probably will rise. The insurance industry has estimated that half of that is about $250 million that are uninsured or insured losses. We also have telerestoration open, and the general information hotline that we have open, the 1-800 numbers, and they were opened immediately after you made the disaster declaration. And I'm pleased to tell you that today, 4 of the disaster application centers will be open at 1 o'clock, and I will be going to each of those application centers personally. The FEMA staff was in these centers and here at the Disaster Field Office with the State Office of Emergency Services. We're going to be very proactive in our role here. We're going to be providing personalized assistance to the families in helping to restore insurance settlement issues or whatever we need to do to help them to get their lives back together. And for the first time, the American Insurance Association will have representatives in all of our disaster application centers to work with disaster victims in helping settle their claims.
That's good. That's very good.
And also I should add that Senator Boxer and Senator Feinstein are also going to provide staff to help work the disaster application centers as well. And at this time, Mr. President, I'm going to ask Dick Andrews, the State Director, to give you a brief summary of the fire situation right now.
Good morning, Mr. President. Governor Wilson asked me to send his regards and his appreciation for your personal involvement and support, and the support of the members of your administration in our effort here in California. We have a much more favorable weather condition. The red flag warning that we had in effect from 3 o'clock yesterday has been canceled. We have an onshore flow, and the temperatures are generally cooler than they have been. The forecast is for continuation of these conditions through today, tomorrow, with some possibility of an increase of an offshore flow. In other words, a return of the Santa Ana conditions on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But since that's a long-term forecast, it's still highly uncertain. We're still working 7 fires, although none of them threaten structures immediately. We believe that if we continue to have the favorable weather conditions, we should be able to achieve much greater containment of these fires, which are essentially now burning wild areas through today and into tomorrow. We continue to have over 900 engines deployed. About 86 of those are U.S. Forest Service engines. and other engines from the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and from the local government through the OES mutual aid system. So if the weather forecast and the weather conditions hold, we believe that we have a good hand on being able to contain the fires, and that we can continue in coordination with Mr. Witt and FEMA to transition into the recovery effort.
Do you have any questions of Dick, Mr. President?
Mr. President?
No. I want to say before I go on to Secretary Espy that I have just been terribly impressed by the work of the people who've been out there fighting the fires. I know that we have provided from the federal government a lot of the firefighters, and of course there have been the folks there at the local level, but it's been really amazing to me just to watch and see how hard they've worked. And as you know, Mike McClarty's been who's here with me now, has been coordinating this from our end, so I've been pretty well briefed all along. I also want to say I'm very pleased that the Insurance Association is going to have people in the disaster assistance area. That's something, as you well know, James Lee, all of us could have used for years, and that's a very, very good sign, and I thank them. But maybe I should hear from Secretary Espy and Roger Johnson and Senator Boxer and Senator Feinstein, and maybe then I'll see if we got any questions.
Mr. President, this is Mike out here in the Oak Grove Fire Camp, and it's the staging area to fight the Kenaloa fire, considered to be the fire right now the highest priority. We've got 151 structures completely lost out here with a $64 million value loss, but it's looking better. As you heard this morning, we've got about a 55% containment here in this number one area of priority. I can't say enough about the prompt and vigorous and effective work on the part of firefighters from all levels, the Forest Service, all of these local and county firefighters. It's an incredible level of cooperation. It seems also, as you've heard, sir, that the Santa Ana winds are a bit more civil today, and all of these fires, 8 of the 17, they've gotten a 90 to 100% containment on, as you've heard. And the additional fire crews that would be called to bear to this situation are on hold now. So I can say that it's pretty smoky where I am this morning, but it seems as if this situation is under control.
How much federal land have we lost out there?
Oh, gosh. We've got 150,000 or so acres already burned.
But a lot of it belongs to the federal government, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
20 or 30,000 acres, something like that.
We got two major national forests out here, and it's under pretty good attack here. The problem in the future, of course, once the fires have receded, is revegetating and reseeding, making sure that that in the Forest Service area we can do a lot of rehabilitation, and so that's where we've got to turn our attention once the immediate situation abates.
Well, we should be able to help California with that.
Yes, sir.
We know how to do that, and
we are. The Soil Conservation Service will be taking the lead in the rehabilitation exercises out here.
Is Jim Lyons out there with you?
Jim Lyons is here. He's been here for a couple of days. He's a little bleary-eyed. He had to get up this morning to do a bunch of things. But
he used to be a firefighter, didn't he?
Yeah, he said he did. We're in a place that looks like
we just thought he ought to have a little continuing education.
Right. We need those tail guys to get their hands dirty every now and then.
I really appreciate you, Mike. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We I just can't say enough about the good work. It's very prompt, very vigorous, effective, and they've been out here from day one. Many without sleep, without rest, and it's just incredible to be here. It's great.
Is Roger Johnson on?
He's here, Mr. President. Good morning.
You saved your home, didn't you?
Yes, sir. They saved it.
Congratulations.
GSA is working in full cooperation. We've got materials coming from all over the country. The trailer load's moving out of Stockton, out of Fort Worth, with everything in it from fire hoses, sleeping bags, and tents. A whole bunch of people working in tight coordination with James Witt's people, and I just can reiterate from being there personally in Laguna Beach, Mr. President, we lost 350 homes and a lot of our friends' homes, but these people are miraculous. The fire, I can't tell you how close it came to wiping out a whole village and maybe thousands of homes if it weren't for these extraordinary people. So we're very lucky. Everybody's at work now fixing it up.
That's great. How many homes were lost? 350 in Laguna alone?
Yeah.
Yes.
About 700 overall, I think. Jumped into a area, Emerald Bay, where we used to live. So there's a lot of our friends there, and I think the home we used to live in is gone as well.
Mr. President, Dick Andrews, the state director, and Bill Medovich, our regional director out here, will be meeting with 12 of the insurance associations of California at 11 o'clock with the governor, and we're going to be working to see if there's some special needs in the application centers that come in, then we will advance those special needs with money ourselves through FEMA, and then they can reimburse us after they get their insurance checks.
Thank you very much. Senator Feinstein, Senator Boxer.
Good morning, Mr. President. How are you?
I'm fine.
I just want to say thank you very much for caring. And I want to make a couple of quick points, at least as a former mayor who knows something about firefighting of what I saw. There is an incredible response. Within a very short time, most of them within 35 hours, some 80 strike teams of 5 engines a team were moved into the area. That leaves only 13 strike teams up in Northern California. There are fire units from Sacramento, from Carquinez, from San Francisco, from Oakland, from Richmond, from all over the state down there. What I saw in the briefing that we had yesterday at the command center in Riverside is that they are well organized, they're well coordinated, and they're well prioritized. The big threat is that the Santa Ana comes back. They've anticipated the way the wind will move to see that they have engine companies distributed appropriately. And that, for me to see, was very good. Now, why has this happened? And this is important. California has something called Fire Scope, which is a unified command structure that very few areas in America have, so that everybody, state, federal, local, work under one command authority. I think it may be a national model that we should take a good look at, and Mr. Whitten and I have resolved to do it, to try to see if this can't apply to the rest of the nation, because one of the things that seems to be happening is probability of earthquakes are increasing. Just exactly a year ago, we lost 3,000 homes in a firestorm outside of Oakland, California, and the weather patterns are changing. So the real need to have unified commands in the future that can mobilize and prioritize resources, I think, is extraordinarily important. Let me make one other point. FEMA is not well thought of in California because of the Loma Prieta and the Los Angeles riot response. I really believe it is a new FEMA now. And I think that James Witt is putting in place those things that are necessary to provide a consistent and a long-term response, because people in fire are just wiped out. They lose everything. I mean, everything except whatever they leave the fire with, generally the clothes on their back. And the need to get them those living assistance checks within the 10 days. And I think, as Mr. Witt said, the need to encourage the private insurance industry to respond promptly so that people get help is really, these are really the things that government can do and do well to be able to help people. And I just want to say thank you to the fire people, and thank you, FEMA, and thank you, Mr. President, for caring.
Thank you, Senator. James Lee, I think you and Mike.
Do you have room for one more senator? Yeah,
no, I'm gonna call it just a minute. I just wanted to say to James Lee and Mike Hesby, I think you ought to make a recommendation to me on what we should do on this unified command issue after you get back. Senator Boxer, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, so much. This is very special for us in California to know that you are personally involved. When you see the devastation, it looks horrible on CNN, and you see it, and you're standing there. It's extraordinary. It kind of looks like a volcano went through. There's literally nothing left. Shells of cars and maybe some fireplaces. And so some people have lost every single thing, all their hopes and dreams. And the thing is, we need to stick with them after the cameras are gone, as you know, because picking up the pieces takes a while. And so I would urge that we all do that. And I want to add my voice to everything that's been said, so I will be brief. I've been an elected official for a long time, and I've gone through 5 disasters as an elected official, and I have never seen a FEMA that was so organized and aggressive and human. And you have to be very proud of James Lee Witt for what he is doing, and it's his force of his personality. And I have to say, the cooperation that the state is showing with FEMA, it's just a real breakthrough. And right up and down the line, the firefighters, and when I went to the Red Cross Center, I think that is going to stick with me more than anything. The seniors at the Dana Point Red Cross Center were so disoriented, and I think what it's crying out for is simplicity, the one-stop shop, the ability to help them at one place, and of course that's what James Lee is doing. So my deepest thanks to you, and we'll keep you informed and work with you until we've picked up all the pieces.
Thank you, Senator. I want to thank both the senators, and Dick Andrews, I thank you, and through you, Governor Wilson, you tell him that if there's anything else we can do, you just pick up the phone and call. And to Roger Johnson and Secretary Espy and to James Lee Witt, I thank you all for your quick response, and I can't wait to talk to you some more in person after the fire dies down some more, and we make sure that we don't forget them when the fire's gone. We'll be there for the follow-up. I thank you all, and I hope you have a good day and keep those winds away out there.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
Thank you.